Hello Year 2, welcome to our lesson on responsibilities. We're learning to understand what responsibilities are and more importantly, what our responsibilities are. What does it mean to be responsible? Well, to be responsible is to do what's expected of you, and then you accept the consequences of your actions, good and bad. Remember, consequences are things that happen because of something. So let's have a look at some different examples. We have responsibilities so that we can live the kind of life we value. Now I've got a video that I want you to watch, and I want you to think about how everyone is doing their responsibilities makes the kind of classroom we value. Remember, responsibilities are the things that we do. See if you can spot the things that children are doing which are matching their rights, which are essentially their values. And then we can think about what happens when children aren't doing the things that they're responsible to do and what effect that has on their rights and the things that they value. I'd like you to pause me, go and watch the video, and then when you've finished, come back. Okay, so hopefully you've seen that we have lots of different responsibilities at school, and they're very linked to our rights, the things that we value and need to have in everyday life to have the kind of life that we want. So in school, let's think about the different responsibilities we have. Well, we have responsibilities to do our work, to listen and respect the teacher and not talk when the teacher's talking, to be quiet on the carpet, to put your hand up before you ask a question. Those are your responsibilities. Why do we do those things? Because we have a right in the classroom, we have a value in the classroom to be respectful and to show effort in our learning. What else do we need to do at school? Well, we want to listen to our friends and be kind to our friends and other members of staff that we come into contact with, whether that be people who work in the kitchen or other people on the playground. We do that because we want to be respectful to them. So we do our responsibilities of showing table manners, of being polite and not running in the school and listening to friends so that we can have the rights of being respectful and kind. Let's think of some other ones. Start at home. Well, at home, you might have lots of different responsibilities, and maybe these pictures remind you of what they are. Remember, responsibilities are things that you need to do, and there are good consequences when you do them, and there are bad consequences when you don't. So let's think about helping out with cleaning. I can see a picture of someone helping their mum clean the dishes. You might want to be cleaning in the kitchen, or maybe you have a responsibility to clean your room, or to make your bed, or to clean your toys. Maybe you have a pet and you have a responsibility to help look after your pet. Or it could be doing something in the garden to help your family. Why are you given those responsibilities? Why do you have to do those things? Remember, it's because when we do those things, we can live in the place that we value and we have a right to be in. For example, we can live in a place that's clean. If it's a pet, we can help keep the pet healthy. If it's listening to your family and helping your family, we can be kind to our families and respect them. Okay, let's look at one more set of responsibilities that we all have. We have responsibilities in our community. Now these could be things like keeping our environment nice and tidy when we're indoors, or clean when we're outdoors. Maybe it's picking up litter like you can see in the picture over there. Or it could be looking after our environment by planting new trees in our parks. Or it could simply be just making sure things are nice as we find it when we leave it. So not making things really muddy and looking after the grass that we're on. Also, when we're in our community, we have a responsibility to help other people who have needs. For example, giving a smile to them, or being kind when we walk on the street and giving other people space to walk on the street. We have these responsibilities in our community so that we all can enjoy the value and the rights we have to a lovely living environment and to be respectful to one another. I hope you have had loads of different ideas of the things that you're responsible to do, and also why you have to do them. Because remember, responsibilities are actually a wonderful thing, because when we do them, then we can have the kind of life that we really want and we value and we have a right to. But it doesn't come for free. We have to do these things in order to have it. So what we're going to do is a task. I'm going to draw a template of the worksheet that we're going to make, and I'd like you to make one as well. So you can hopefully have some plain paper. Don't worry if it's squared or lined, that's fine as well, but plain would be best. You're going to need a ruler and a pen. We're going to make a template which has 3 different spaces on it. One for responsibilities at home, one for at school, and one for in our communities. And we're going to list 2 responsibilities. Now these are your responsibilities, things that you have to do at home or at school or in our communities, things that you think you do. And then for each one, we're going to write a consequence of what happens when you do the responsibility, and then what would happen when you don't. Let's go. Okay, so the first step we need to do is to write my responsibilities in the middle of the page. It's quite a long word. Responsibilities. Okay, the second thing you want to do is to do a little bubble around that. Not too big, but we just want to give it some space. Okay, now the third thing is we're going to split our page into thirds, so into 3 equal parts. I'm going to do that by drawing a line from the top of the page to the middle of my responsibilities, and then I'm going to do 1 line coming out here and 1 line coming out here. Okay, this is how I'm going to put my page into thirds. Now, I've got 3 equal parts and I'm going to name them each. So the first one is going to be my responsibilities at home. So at the top, I'm going to write at home. And I like to underline my headings. The second one is at school. And again, I like to underline it. And lastly, I'm going to say in community. This is a bit of a longer word. Feel free to pause me if you want to have a look at those words. So now we have got it set up. What we're going to do is we're going to write 2 responsibilities for each part, each area, and then write a consequence of what happens when we do them and a consequence of what happens when we don't do them. So at home, I'm going to have my first responsibility and I'm going to write them one at a time. Now I'm going to give ideas of what you could do, okay? So at home, it might be that you want to be talking about cleaning and tidying. So one of the responsibilities that you need to do might be tidy your room. Maybe it's make your bed, or tidy the kitchen, or help with some of the bins or something like that. Remember, I'm writing this because they're mine. They're my responsibilities, so tidy my room, full stop. The second responsibility that you might have to do at home is listening to your parents and respecting them. So I'm going to say listen to my, remember I'm writing as if I'm you, parents. It might be to do with your siblings, or maybe it's your grandparents or another adult. Now, I've got at home and my 2 responsibilities. Now I want to write a consequence of when I do it, those things, and I'll choose one of them, and a consequence of when I don't do those things. Again, I'll choose one of them. So I'm going to say a consequence for when I tidy my room. Remember, we're linking it to the values, the things that we like to live in. So when I tidy my room, I can live in a clean place and I can help my family. So I'm going to say a full sentence just underneath the second one. When I tidy my room, it's your responsibility, I can live in a clean place and help my family. Those are things that I value, and they are the consequences of what happens when you tidy your room. I can help my family. I'm going to write that one first. Family and live in a clean place. Now I want to write a consequence of when I don't do something. So when I don't listen to my parents, I'm going to choose that one. When I don't listen to my parents, what's not happening? I am not helping my family. When, or being kind perhaps, when I don't, and we're having one consequence when we do and one when we don't, listen to my parents, comma, got our subordinated conjunction there, when I don't listen to my parents, I can't help my family. Okay, full stop. So that's my full one for at home. What about at school? Well, if you want, you can go off and do your own at home, at school and in community, but I'm going to come up with some ideas for now as well if you want to stay tuned. So at school, maybe you want to be talking about listening to your friends and playing fairly. Maybe you want to talk about showing effort in your learning and listening to the teacher, or trying hard in your homework. The first one I'm going to say is responsibility at school is being kind on the playground. So being, and I'm already thinking, what's the consequence of being kind on the playground? Well, you'll be trustworthy if you're kind on the playground and kind to your friends. The second responsibility, and we're going to write two responsibilities for each section, is to try hard in learning. I think that's a really big responsibility that every child has at school. Hard in my learning. Remember, I'm writing it as if I'm you, talking about your responsibilities. And then you would go ahead and write the consequences. So when I am being kind on the playground, I am trustworthy and kind to my friends. When I try hard in my learning, then we have to write one where we are following the doing the responsibility, and one when we're not. So maybe when we can say about what happens when we don't try hard in our learning is that we can't achieve our goals. And then let's think about community. Different things you could say here, different responsibilities could be picking up litter or helping another child in the playground or at the park. And then so you'd want to think again of your consequences. One, when you do it. So what happens when you pick up litter? You're looking after the environment. But what happens, let's think about a consequence of when, say, you don't help a child in the park. You're not setting a role model for the other children of showing respect. Okay, I can't wait to see what you think your responsibilities are and what the consequences you feel are for when you do your responsibilities and if you weren't to. Off you go, Year 2. Good luck!